Welcome, friends. My name is Avinash Gorakshekar, and I welcome all of you to another interesting episode of Konexio HighFlyers. Friends, as all of you are aware, these episodes help us understand, a lot of emerging companies from emerging sectors, and we make it a point to talk to the promoters and the top managements of such companies so that all of us can understand, their company's operations in a much better way. We get to know the company's business model, their growth journey, and their future expansion plans, which helps us understand these companies in a much better way for all our investors. And friends, today we have got a very interesting company which operates in the in the solar space. The company's name is Solar91 Cleantech Limited, and we have the privilege of having Mr. Pratik Agarwal, who is the managing director of the company. Pratik ji, thank you very much for sparing your valuable time today, sir. I am pretty confident that in this small interaction we'll be able to understand your company's operations in a much better way. We also have Mr. Dhaval Vasavda, who's the whole time director. So
Hi, sir.
Dhavalji, thank you very much for sparing time with us today. So it will be an interesting session with both of you to understand the company in a very interesting space. So
Thank you.
without wasting time, the first question, which is very elementary, and which I would like to ask both of you, is that, sir, if you could give us some background about, what is our business model? Like, we are into the IPP space, we are into the EPC solar space. What is the main focus of our company, and basically what is the positioning of our company in the domestic market? And if you could also share with us, some flavor about how this business journey started, like how did you all get into this business? How did this idea come about to you? And was it a first generation effort, or was it something which was, done earlier by your other, by maybe your, by your, father, and then it got continued? We want to know the story also behind the initiative, which will give us a little interesting aspect about, the promoter's profile.
Sir, I will just give you a background about the promoters. Basically, Mr. Pratik Agarwal, me, Mr. Saurabh Vyas, and Mr. Sandeep Gurnani are the four promoters of this company. Mr. Saurabh Vyas comes from IIT Bombay. I and Mr. Pratik Agarwal, we come from IIT Roorkee. And Mr. Sandeep, who's our CEO, he comes from IIT Delhi. We knew each other from different spaces, different segments. We share a common alumni in the wider IIT network, and basically all of us are connected to the city of Jaipur in Rajasthan. We started Solar91 in 2015, and we had the primary idea that we wanted to work in the green space. We realized that it is a very big opportunity in terms of business, and also a lot of good that we can do to the environment in general. And we launched Solar91 with that idea. Primarily, we focused on the energy requirements of small and medium scale enterprises who have a very high energy consumption. They have a lot of high requirements, but generally don't have ways and opportunities to offset that requirements against green power. A lot of these people came to us, we actually spoke to a lot of them before launching Solar91, and we realized that they don't have a good solution. They don't have a trustworthy partner who is an integrator of like solar solutions for them. Over the last 9 years, we have worked on close to 180 plus projects across India, commissioning like more than 75 megawatts of projects for these clients in this space. Primarily, all of these projects have helped them offset their power requirements. So there is also an element of goodwill that a customer always gets when he actually moves to green power consumption. In our business, there are basically three verticals that we actually work on. First is the EPC vertical, where we are primarily system integrators, for our clients. Turnkey EPC is our business. We integrate, right from the design stage to the commissioning stage of the project. Second is, of course, operating and maintaining that project over a longer period of time. So all our clients, we have operation and maintenance agreements with the client, which stretch to a typical life cycle of the project is 25 years, sir. And operation maintenance agreements are signed over a longer period of time. Third is, of course, our IPP business, where Solar91 has recently entered as far as last year is concerned. And we had done two IPP projects 2 years ago also, in 3 years ago also. where as a power producer, I sell power to the end off taker ultimately. So in that case, what happens is that here my entire business focus is going to be on selling power to good off takers, good customers, delivering what I have promised in terms of utilization of the plant. And I will be very competitive in this space because my execution is in-house completely, operation maintenance is in-house, right? So it's a turnkey solution for me as well. But here, of course, I am also the developer of the plant, right? So IPP is a project. As a business, we have just entered last year. We will be commissioning our first set of projects as we speak, sometime in this month of October, and we will. We have a large order book in the IPP space. We have decent, spread in the EPC business also. We have worked in close to 13 states across the entire country. So this is how the spread of our business is basically right now.
So fine. I think thanks a lot, Dhavalji. Now I want to understand basically from the IPV segment. Typically, if you could tell us broadly, what is the difference between the profitability aspect as far as the EPC business is concerned and the IPP business is concerned? Is the IPP business more profitable, Dhavalji, or can you say that both of them are comparable? If you could give us some idea.
So, sir, if you actually ask about profitability and revenue, so EPC business is a very highly competitive business, basically in India. Of course, so is IPP, but EPC business is a marginally a 6 to 8% PAT business. Typically, if you see in India, in the best of cases, a 10% PAT, business. Basically, it's a very highly competitive business.
Exactly.
And IPP business actually is helping me generate an asset or hold on to an asset which will give me a 15 to 18% return over a period of 25 years. So that
Correct.
it's a very different kind of instrument altogether to generate revenue into the company, basically, right? Of the asset value is also very high. EPC, ultimately I become a system integrator. As long as I'm not manufacturing anything, I'm ultimately a system integrator. IPP, I hold on to a power asset, and I have a longer term relationship with the off taker in that case, right? Operation maintenance on both sides will give me about similar kind of margins only, basically.
Both are having actually their own risk and returns,
Both,
risk and
yes,
reward.
exactly. So very rightly said by Pratik. Both are having the risk and returns. Both are having the requirement of capital is also very different in both the cases. Basically, I think for us the good part has been that because we have become strong EPC players over the last 9 years. Now the confidence as a company is very high in developing these IPP projects and running them for a longer period of time. That journey we have already lived over the last 9 years.
Well, understood. I think Pratikji just wanted to understand in terms of the overall capex requirement. I think Dhavalji mentioned that now IPP is going to be the main focus, the new focus. Beg your pardon. So, what is the kind of capital expenditure which you would require to actually build in that IPP capacity? If you could give us some idea over the next say 2 to 3 years, what are the kind of plans the company has to build IPP capacity?
Company's labor for the next 1.5 year to 2 year is like we are going to deploy around 700 to 750 crores as a IPP business model. So this is the capex requirement for which already the debt and all has been secured by the company, and we are looking for the funds also for that.
Okay. And where exactly are these IPP projects going to come in, Pratikji? If you could tell us geographically, which are the areas or which are the locations, the company has, probably, identified.
So currently we are already having secured orders from the state of the Rajasthan, state of the Karnataka. We are already having secured orders. Going forward, we are moving towards the Punjab, UP, and Maharashtra also.
Okay, so these are the states where possibly IPP capacity will come. Okay.
Yeah.
And till now, Dhavalji, one question to you: how much of energy capacity have we energized under the EPC model? You said EPC, you all have been very old, almost 8 to 9 years. तो क्यूमुलेटिव कितनी कैपेसिटी होगी जहां पे हमने एनर्जाइज किया है वो जरा बताइए.
So 75 megawatt in the distributed small scale rooftop as well as ground mounted capacity in the EPC space, sir. In fact, as of this month, as we complete, this will be close to 100 megawatts basically as we complete October. So we will have crossed 100 megawatts as we complete October, sir, basically. In fact, we'll just be crossing that, right?
Okay.
So this will be almost across 185 projects.
185. Okay. Yeah. I mean, on the financial side, I just wanted to understand the basics of the financing model which you follow. Sir, what would be the per megawatt cost of setting up an IPP plant? Like you said, it's an asset which you are creating for the next 20-25 years. So typically, what kind of power rates, normally an IPP player supplies power to the customer, and what is the cost of generating that power? If you could just give us some ballpark numbers, that will help us understand the economics of this business.
So broadly, if you look at it, sir, in an IPP project, any project, solar project, typically a ground-mounted project has a cost of about 3.5 to 3.75 crores, almost 4 crores. Average is 3.75, 4 crores, almost 4 crores in terms of the per megawatt cost on solar. Typically, these are 25-year projects, as we know. So in a 25-year cycle, there is a landed cost of power that we assume that we'll ultimately achieve. There's an operation maintenance cost of close to 1 to 1.25% of the project value on an annual basis, basically. And typically, the time to set up something like this is around 9 months. Fairly, if I look at it, one project typically takes around 9 months from land, connectivity, setting up the entire plant, commissioning. 6 to 9 months is a fair idea if you look at it. Maybe 9 months is a good number to take actually for setting up this kind of a project.
Okay. And coming to client concentration, Pratikji, if you could tell us, typically how important are the top 5 or 10 clients for you? Do they account for a major part of our revenue, or is the revenue broadly, evenly, shared between all the customers? I would just wanted to know what is the level of concentration, customer
So
concentration.
in EPC business, actually, it is like clients are always rotating. So this year, your 90% revenue will be coming from your top 10 customers. But going forward next year, those top 10 customers will be the different customers. So it's a EPC business is kind of the referral business. You can say that you are going to get the leads from your customer only, and whatever work you have done based on that and based on your recommendation, the next customer will be yours. So this is the kind of the thing happens in the EPC business.
Okay, understood. Pratikji, now tell me one thing. If you could share with us some key names, which are the kind of customers which we have been dealing with, because 8 to 9 years in the EPC business means you've got a very good, strong track record. Sir, koi bade customers ke agar if you can share with us some of the names, that will help us.
Key customers, you can say the Golcha Group based out of Rajasthan, Haldiram's Nagpur, Blackstone subsidiary Horizon Group is based out of Maharashtra, Modern Insulator is again based out of Rajasthan, NPA Group based out of the Bareilly. We have done few government projects also like AIMS Odisha, Bhubaneswar, AIMS West Bengal also we have done like other BSNL was also the customer, like we have done the buildings of the BSNL in Uttarakhand. So these kind of the customers we are having.
Okay. Dhavalji, now just to talk about the order book, because I know this is an order book driven business. So, sir, EPC business में हमारा अभी current, what is the current order book position which we have? And on the IPP business, you said it's just started about a year back. So on this side of the business, do you have any existing orders, or you're going to put up the new facility and then obviously get orders? As Pratikji was saying, in 4-5 states, you all are planning to go big bang into IPP. So on the order book, if you can give us some flavor.
Combined order book within the EPC plus IPP together at almost 700 crores, which we will be executing in the next 18 months, out of which about 25 to 30 crores as on date it comes from the rooftop EPC space also, basically. And rest is all ground mounted EPC, basically. That is the structure right now.
Okay. And these are all rolling orders, Dhavalji. So, you must be getting continuously new orders as, time progresses. So
we have a, we have a sales team, sir, business development team, which is based in different states at our different offices. And they constantly, keep talking to clients' requirements with good wishes of everyone. Solar91 has been lucky that we have got bulk of our customers through our existing channel customers only, basically. So we have a strong referral goodwill that we enjoy somehow
Yeah.
among our customers, and that has been a good thing for us. Government, of course, we have to participate in competitive tenders and come on top, and then only
Yeah.
we'll be able to obviously win those things. In the private space, that has been our model till now.
Okay. I think it's good to know that you all have got a good presence in the EPC, and now we all will be dominant in the IPP space. Tell me one thing, Dhavalji, on the overall macro opportunity for the renewable energy side. What is your thought process? Like, you all have spent a long time in this industry. Over the next, say, 3-5 years, how big can be this opportunity in terms of the solar space? If you talk about both the IPP and the EPC market, in the next 3-5 years, what is the kind of opportunity market size which you people visualize, and how will the company capitalize on this growth?
So, sir, I will, instead of talking of the opportunity in the solar specific space, let us look at the wider energy segment in itself, basically, and why it is, being driven at such a pace. So, if you look at our consumption pattern itself, sir, it has completely changed as a developing economy, basically, right? So, probably today, our per capita consumption of power is not more than 800, 900, 1000 units, basically, right? This is only going up. So if you talk to anybody in any circle, probably he had one air conditioner access in his home. Is now gone up to 3 to 5 air conditioners in a lot of places. Your vehicles are moving towards electric vehicles, so you have charging requirements there also, right? So why this entire energy profile is being changed, and there is obviously a drastic jump in requirement also. Solar, on the other hand, is probably the easiest way to set up things. Basically, the fastest turnaround time in case of generating power. Of course, there have been constraints in terms of generating power only in the daytime, etc., which is also being addressed by the battery energy storage ecosystem, basically. So going forward, as our demands increase, among the developed countries, typically the per capita consumption is 10 times what India is consuming today. So I am not saying 10 times, but at least if this number jumps up in terms of consumption, the overall space is actually big enough. We strongly believe as a company also that if all the shoulders of all companies like us also put together all their efforts, then also there will be a huge gap in terms of demand supply over the next 10 years at least, basically, right? So I
So
think
we
everybody in this space should put in their best of efforts, deliver the best of projects, so that as a country our power requirement is met in time.
So we have came from the era like in 2015 when we started. We were like explaining people like what is the solar technology and this will be the IRR of this technology and you should go with this and this is the return in these many years you will get the payment back and then this will go for 25 years and we guarantee you for this technology and that kind of the things were happening. Now from that time we came to the time in 2024 where customers or the industrialists when they are planning for the industry they are calling us that we want the solarization of our industry also simultaneously when we are starting the production. So that is the thought process has been changed in the country. Government has adapted that thing like if they want to fulfill the power demand of the country they have to go with the solar energy. So they are also like exploring the n number of the opportunities in the field like how they can develop the bigger and bigger solar projects. So this is like
Okay.
completely drastic change, and I think whatever has been done in 10 years could be done in next 2 years also.
Okay.
That's could be the pace now.
Okay. Understood. I think that explains the kind of size of the opportunity, and I think you all are right in saying the government has also promoted this industry in a very big way. So that also has given a big thrust to the solar sector. Now tell me one thing, Pratikji, competition has also increased. You all are operating in a market which is intensely competitive. Many new companies have come in. Everybody is wanting to grab a market share of this market. In your sense, what could be the competitive intensity in this market in the next, say, 2 to 3 years? Will we be able to maintain margins, or will it be purely volume growth? अपने को volume growth ही करना है या अपने को margins भी protect करना है? How do you
See,
see this picture?
yes.
Because 2-3 years down the line, the amount of solar capacity which is coming in both on the EPC side, on the solar panel side, people are going for solar cells. So a lot of things are happening. So if you could share your thoughts on these aspects.
So we are in the country like India where we are having a population of 140 crores plus people. So you should be prepared for the competition in any kind of the business which is taking off. Okay, whatever will be starting, it will have the competition in next 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, 4 years down the line. There will be competition, and you will have to face the competition by maintaining your quality, by maintaining your superior skills. That how you are going to be outperformed with the market. You have to devise with your financing schemes. You have to devise with your execution schemes, that how I can deliver it a faster manner, how I can make the trust between the customers. So that's the key role. Means you cannot say that competition should not be there. It should be there, because you have to increase employment also, and you have to increase yourself also. That's how
Exactly.
only you can be improved. Otherwise, if we will not get the competition, we will not be able to improve.
Exactly. No, I think rightly mentioned by you, Pratikji. Dhavalji, now adding to what Pratikji said, see, keeping aside the financials apart, now in this industry, what are the, value kind of drivers which you offer to customers? Like if customers come to you with repeat business, I do know, I do expect that some business must be coming as repeat business from some key customers. तो सर हम ऐसा क्या स्पेशल करते हैं कि हम ज्यादा वैल्यू कस्टमर को देते हैं यानी if I were to ask you 2 3 qualitative points, like Pratik ji said, service, quality, execution. I mean, finally, it is a commodity business. How exactly do you add value to this business so that the customer comes to us and gets more business, and you get more wallet share from the same customer. Sir, इसके बारे में बताइए.
If you look at it very specifically, why does the customer actually get into investing in a solar project, right? His primary requirement is going to be power generation, right? So over the last 9 years, sir, all the plants that we have put have actually generated more power than what the customer has expected from us. That has been the primary motto and motive. Lot of times our customers have clauses where they want that, okay, if you are not able to generate enough power, there'll be some penalty clause, etc., etc. Solar 91 has not faced any one single case also of that kind in the last 9 years. That is one part of thing. Second is that there is a lot of time constraints in this industry. So among the one big advantage that we have been able to give to our customers is the quick execution of projects also, right? So we are probably, I will not be able to name the customer, but we have done an execution of a project in a span of, I think, 41 days after handing over the land in one of the cases, basically, right? So, sorry, 51 days. So that's a very, very, very short time for any power project to get commissioned, basically, right? And that is very, very important because customer always is fighting day in day out. He wants to save money, with solar power generation. Also, he wants to avail of certain tax benefits also, etc., etc. So these are the two combinations that I feel. One is, of course, generating more power than what he expects, which will be because of the quality of engineering that we would do, the quality of operations that we would do, of course. And second is the speed of execution on day one itself, right? Where there is a deadline to be met and the customer is happy that, okay, they have delivered before time, or rather within the time promised to them, right? So we have been very conscious of these two things, basically. And of course, with this, cost competitiveness also will always be there, right? So we have been competitive. I am not saying that we have been the cheapest or the most expensive, rather we have been competitive. But after maintaining these two things, if we are competitive, it actually gives us a very big edge in this industry.
I think understood. Dhavalji, now one other related question, which is related to the scale of the opportunity. Now, will the scale benefits, once your IPP capacity comes in and scale of power generation increases, will this impact your profitability in a significant manner? I mean, investors would obviously like to know that till now, things have been largely on the EPC side. Now IPP capacity is coming in. You said you got 700 crores of worth of orders. तो एक सिंपल सवाल है कि अगर वॉल्यूम बढ़ता है पावर का तो उसका डायरेक्ट इम्पैक्ट ऑपरेटिंग मार्जिन्स पे आएगा. Can I assume this to be the right thing?
Sir, for sure, you're absolutely on the right track. And the main reason is that when a company is small, at least in case of Solar91, our focus was always on building a strong team, basically. So now with that, since our team is very strong, we will enjoy the benefits of the same thing when we scale up, basically, right?
Correct.
A lot of our overheads, so to say, or the centralized costs, as we put it in terms of admin, will be distributed across more projects, across bigger capacity, right? So for sure, that has been our focus. And even today, Solar91, the team that we are building is actually with the thought of what projects we will be doing in 2030, basically, right? So that is always our focus, because in any industry, more so in a very critical industry like power, good team members are very important, basically. So we have our first employee still with us, basically, right? And that has been our and that is why our, I mean, as a small company, our profitability has been low. But as we grow, it will obviously show up in the margins that we are succeeding in the concept that we actually wanted to implement.
I think very nice to know, Dhavalji, that employee culture is also very good at our company. Now coming to the financials, Dhavalji, if you could give us some flavor that this year for FY24, top line has grown moderately, but the profitability has jumped significantly. Now, any specific reason why this happened? Any kind of change in the product mix or the margins improved dramatically? Exactly what happened?
For the previous year, there were two things. In fact, one specific thing is that the cost of our raw materials that we procure ultimately, which is the solar panels, that has substantially come down in the last year, right? The impact of that will not be there so much this year. But on the other hand, this year our scale of operations has improved, so the impact of the scale of operations will automatically show up in the margins, basically, right? So previous year, that was one of the major reasons why the margins actually went up.
And just a related question, Pratikji, from where do we source the solar panels? Like, do we have any arrangement with some large vendors so that we get competitive prices, or do we import the solar panel? हम लोग कैसे करते हैं?
So previously we were importing the solar panels from China also and getting it from the Indian manufactured brands also, like Vari, Adani and all. So and now since April 2024, we are completely shifted onto the Indian manufactured panels only. And we are having a decently good enough capacity in India now. The Vari Energies is having almost 7-8 gigawatt manufacturing capacity. Adani is similar. Renew Power is also having 4-6 gigawatt manufacturing capacity. Satvik Group is having capacity, and more companies are coming into the sector. So right now, the challenge is not the availability of the module, and we are getting the good quality of the module also from the Indian market. So, and we are having a good relationship with all these big manufacturers from last 8-9 years. So we are having a good kind of the pricing availability also.
Okay. Understood. I think now coming to the most important question for the interview today, Dhavalji, if you could give us some idea about the company's public issue, because I believe now the company is entering the capital market. Sir, how much money are we raising from the capital market, and what are the main objectives of the offer? If you could please share your thoughts.
Sir, before I come to how much money we are raising, let me talk on the objects first. As I've said, we have a order book of almost 700 crores in the IPP space that we have to execute over the next 18 months. Our primary object of this fundraise is also to build that order book. Basically, these are all capital expenditure going majorly towards the projects, basically. Second is, of course, the working capital requirement will also be there as we execute this large order, basically, right? So these are the primary two objectives that we are going to meet, basically, from the fundraise that we will do. We are planning to raise about 90 odd crores, from this IPO, proceedings, basically.
Okay.
Most of which will go into, like I said, building this order book, basically.
Okay.
Right. And the
for funding this order book, I think you will be, tapping the capital market.
Yes. So this is primary capital requirement. This is primary toward capital expenditure that the company is doing. Right. Okay. This meets the equity portion of the capital projects.
Okay. And just for my sake, if you could tell us, sir, what is the leverage on the balance sheet as of now? Like how are we leveraged? Like, are we comfortably leveraged, or will you be even looking at some debt funding for future growth also?
So, sir, right now we don't have very heavy leverage. Basically, solar projects in the IPP space typically have a mix of 70-30 in terms of debt and equity. As we have just begun with the projects, basically. So these are just the initial funding rounds that we have taken in our company. And apart from that, we have a small support from EARF, Energy Access Relief Fund, which is an international impact fund, basically. which decided to support us with a very low interest rate, loan 2 years ago, basically, which is about 5 crores, 5.5 crores, basically. That is the amount. And it was an impact fund, so of course it has come at a very low interest rate, basically.
Okay, understood. Pratikji, now a question which is related to what Dhavalji mentioned on the working capital side. How long is the working capital cycle in our business, like both for EPC as well as for IPP? Typically, if you could tell us what is the normal timeline for the cash conversion cycle to happen, if you could give us some flavor on the working capital cycle.
So in EPC business, it's the milestone-based payment, like bullet payments, whatever. You have a proper agreement before you are taking off the project. So you receive the advance from the customer, and after certain milestones, you are getting the next payments also. So during the project cycle of, let's say, 3 to 4 months, you are going to get almost 85 to 90%, and then 10% of the project payment comes after the handing over or the commissioning of the project. That's how the cycle will go. And for the IPP projects also, for the Solar 91, it will be similar, because that IPP is actually arranging the funds and will be giving to the Solar 91 as an EPC order only. So it will be similar for both the cases.
Okay, understood. Dhavalji, now one futuristic question, which I think it may or may not happen, but I want to understand, there are many solar EPC companies which are also moving into wind energy. They are trying to do some hybrid model also. So going forward in future, sir, is it possible that we can look at that technology also? Because today a lot of customers are looking at wind and solar as a kind of a hybrid combination. So any thoughts, maybe not immediately, but maybe in the near term future, you all are also considering this aspect going forward?
So our thought process is not different, but slightly differently placed in this case. Is that, sir, ultimately what is the requirement is that there should be 24-hour power supply ultimately, right? Or a substantial power supply in the evening hours also, where the power currently is very expensive, right? So overall, the utility of whatever plant or whatever machinery that I said, that it should have a high capacity utilization. That is the idea, right?
Correct.
With battery storage costs expected to come down in the next 1 to 3 years, a lot of rather probably, I would say more or less all the solar plants also will be set up with battery storage as an additional component, right? Even now, if you see, there are a lot of projects which are thermal plus solar mix also, basically, with a similar logic altogether, right? But okay, how do I improve my utilization of the plant machinery that I've set up, right? So that is why, as Solar 91, probably we are not looking at wind as an immediate option. Yes, we are very keen on exploring as solar plus battery as an option. Ultimately, we will be aggressively participating in those projects as and when they come.
Okay, understood. I think nice to know that. Last question is Pratikji, which I would like to ask you is that, see, we have always managed, a very decent performance in the last 8 to 9 years. If you leave alone COVID, in this business, what is the most important risk which a successful company has to manage? And in our case, how have we managed this risk so well? Like, execution is of course very important, but apart from execution, is there any major risk which is like, government policy hai, या कोई रॉ मटेरियल का कॉस्ट बढ़ जाता है, तो एनीथिंग व्हिच यू थिंक इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू एंश्योर दैट we remain always profitable? If you could please share your thoughts on this aspect.
I would say maintaining the cash flow and putting it into the right allocation only will be the key for the success of this business. Like you will be having the multiple projects simultaneously from the different customers, let's say. So first rule is that you should maintain the cash flow very wisely, that you should not mix up the cash flow for utilization of the one project cash flow to other project, and if because that could create a mess. And you should always be securing your inventory position whenever you are getting the orders, or you must have the secured inventory position, because this industry is very dynamic. The prices are up down, it happens due to the certain international conditions, the fluctuation of the dollar, the changes in the time. So a lot of things are variable. So rather than waiting for the ordering the material, waiting for the times to reduce the prices of the material, rather than you should have whatever margin you have considered while quoting the project, you should go with that, and you should close your inventories and move ahead. That's the key, because if you are not moving ahead, that will stuck the project also, and it will create a bad impression in terms of the customer also. So both the things are important here.
No, I think one more thing which I wanted to understand, just please correct me if I'm wrong. Is technology risk there in this business? Like, technology is changing so fast. Is there a big technology risk in the next 3-4 साल 5 साल में technology बदल जाएगी तो we'll have to readjust to that, or is the industry now more or less happy that this technology is more or less standardized?
No. Technology is changing and it's upgrading. But for EPC and IPP business, it's not a risk, because whatever technology you are implementing right now will give its return for next 25 years. If let's say after 2 years, some new technology will come, you will also shift to that technology and you will start implementing that technology. But whatever you have done in the past is not waste. That will generate their own return. So its improvement is good for this business actually.
Okay. So basically, we can say that we are safe enough to say that whatever technology we are using is not going to go obsolete. That is going to obviously
No. If that goes obsolete also, you are going to get that return. So you should not wait for the latest or new technology. Any customer should not wait like I'll have the solar panel of whatever will the latest technology by 2030. That should not be the idea. Whatever is available here, you should go for that.
Biggest point in this case, sorry, I'll just add on, but biggest point in this case is that this is a massive saving for all customers, right? So every day that you wait for a new technology, you're actually losing money, right? And you don't know what new technology is going to benefit, right? So why lose money today when whatever is possible? Why shouldn't one save today, right? That's the entire idea.
I think that is
a power coming from the sun, and from the time you are going to start utilization of that, that's your saving.
Yes.
So if you are delaying it, you are losing it.
And I think very nice to chat with both of you. I think I had a very nice conversation with you, Dhavalji and Pratikji. Please accept my best wishes to you, your entire management team, and your best wishes for your forthcoming public issue also. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.